So hi everyone. I was trying to wait to make this video because I was supposed to be getting something and I didn't get it when they said I would get it. And I just want to ring the alarm and let others know about what I just found out about this agency last week. Now, let me give you some backstory. I have worked with children for many years. For those of you who know me on here, you know I love children. A lot of my jobs include children, and even when I try to start my own little business, I want to include children, which I've mentioned in one or two other videos announcing that I want to start something. And one of the reasons why I want to start something is naturally something I've wanted to do for years. But I want to make sure it's something that I love, it's fun, it's something that I want to get up and go to every day. Because I've had such a bad experience working in daycare preschools, and I've had lots of wrongs done to me through the New York City agencies when I try to work for Board of Education, and I'm going to make a video about some of those experiences I've had. Lots of injustice and rejection, but who knows that man's rejections a lot of time is God's elevation and promotion of you, which I'm learning as I go by and grow older, both spiritually and naturally. I found this out last week after I applied for a job through ACS. I didn't intentionally went to apply for them. New York City was running all these ads over the summer. Oh, New York City is hiring. We need people. We need people. Now, I have not worked for any government agency for many, many years. I think it's probably over 30 years, if I'm remembering right. And I've worked for Legal Aid. I've worked for another center that used to find jobs for youths and guys who are young people. Men would have to, guys who are 18 or older would have to join the selective services and for them to get jobs and training. And I used to do that. I did that for a year, and then it was budget cut and the agency was closed. And I liked it. I worked there like a secretary. And I've worked with foster care agency, but they were not directly in New York City. They were like maybe funded here and there. Maybe, I'm not sure funded, but they were a foster care adoption agency, which I love that job too as a secretary. But then again, because of budget cut. So I think one of the reasons why I stayed away from city and state and government jobs was the fear of the budget cut kind of stuff. And I've always, most of those jobs I had bad experience sometimes too with the people who work in them. You have nice people and you have some people who are street and ghetto and unprofessional. Now, I applied not directly to ACs when I went to the fair. I was just trying to I said, okay, let me just go back to try and find jobs in the government and stuff. In the summer I did that. And it was a whole long drag out process. I didn't even know it was so long and drag out. And when I speak to a couple of people who have applied for city and government jobs, they told me, yeah, one friend of mine told me he applied for sanitation, and they didn't call him till 10 years after. By the time that man has moved on with his life, and he just hits his teeth. Another guy told me he applied in 2013 for sanitation, and they didn't call him until 2018. And so I was very alarmed when they told me they hired me. ACS just reached out to me. And when they reach out to me, let me tell you, they reach out to me with, let me show you some of the other things there so you can find them for yourself. They reach out to me with some job as the, something to do with development, child development or something like, I forgot what it's called, but it's like dealing with youth in like detention center. Now, my degree has something to do with youth, but I'm not looking to work with stuff like that, okay? I'm of an older age now, and I'm not trying to get too much stress, anything that's too much stress. But I love young kids, as you know, the little ones. I love older kids too, but my favorite is infants and toddlers and maybe up to grade 6, so age 6, etc. Those are my favorite age group I love to work with. So, you know, I said, okay, for the love of children, they reached out to me for some position. So I said, no. I want, I look on your site and I see this other thing, I'll apply for that. They said, oh, you gotta have a degree. Well, the person who reached out to me, just by his speaking to me, I could tell he has very low education and his grammar was very poor. And he was like annoyed at me for not wanting what he offered me. And I said, I didn't really apply for this. I gave him my resumes and stuff at the fair, but I didn't apply for nothing yet. And because the letter was like, what they sent out to me, the email was like, oh, we got your resume and application for this position. I forget what it's called. And I'm like, I didn't apply for that. When I look and research it, it's like to deal with a lot of like delinquent and kids. No, I have no problem with that for people who can handle that. I know I don't want to deal with that. So, and that stretch, and it's a lot of overtime that you will have a life. Yeah, you're getting money, but it's not worth it, the stress and what you were going to get. So I said, no, this is what I want to do. And I reached out, applied for this other position. And he was like, you have to have a degree. That tells me they didn't even look at my resume. I said, I have a degree. It's on my resume. Actually, I have 2 degrees. So he said, and then so I told him I went already and applied. I think I applied and reached out again, or applied first. And I said, I applied, and he was like, well, it's paying such and such. I said, no, that's not what that's another thing that was a red flag. That was on the first red flag. Second red flag, because it's just grammar and everything he was speaking to me was kind of street and unprofessional. I said, the site says it's paying such and such, and after 3 months you're going to get such and such amount, or 6 months. And he was like, you have the degree. I said, I have a degree. It's on my resume. I have 2 degrees. So, what you call it. And you can go look it up yourself, guys, and read these things and watch them, and see what's going on. This is just some of the thing that's going on with this agency, ACS. Okay? The stolen money from the children, disadvantaged children. But let's back to my story. And I just want to give you a backstory. So I said, so I applied, and then he reached out and told me they're having an iron event, which I've never been to an iron event. I didn't know what it was like. But when I went, it was like everybody did. He said, I can't get there. I got like 1 million, I'm just exaggerating, but I got a lot of emails back to back. One saying I should not get there. The time was 10 o'clock. One should say get there for 10 o'clock. One said don't get there before 10 o'clock, otherwise you're not coming up upstairs. So I was like, what kind of thing that? Normally they want you to get early for an interview, 15 minutes. So I got there exactly 10 o'clock. And when I got there, I was shocked to see that there was 18 people ahead of me, because they give you they give you a number. So I was concerned about that. And the people already see it and everything. So I said, how comes I get quite a few emails saying don't get there before 10, otherwise they're not letting you upstairs. And when I got upstairs, there were people. So right away I was uncomfortable with that, right? So another thing is they I'm gonna leave it so you can read it. They what you call it? The thing was a big group interview. And a lot of the upper management and stuff spoke to us all together. And then they call you one by one to meet and be interviewed by a supervisor and I think a manager. Let me tell you, another third red flag that something was wrong. The supervisor, the whole time she's interviewing me, you think you're dealing with some hoodlum in the street. She had a mean look on her face. She never smiled one bit. The manager was more pleasant. And she was just, you thought that I killed somebody for her, stole from her, or was in some kind of beef with her. The whole time, this nasty, arrogant, I know, the job deals with children and you want people who are, let's not involved in hurting children and stuff, but you don't have to, that's telling me that you're unprofessional. You don't have to put on that persona and that demeanor to show how serious you are or how serious the job is. And so I was turned off by the whole time. So I was surprised that when they called me eventually in the room, before that, when they asked you to bring some paperwork that they had asked you to fill out before you come, I didn't like how so many different people have your paperwork with your social and all kinds of stuff on it. That's another thing that was bothering me, because I am used to corporate. And even when I've worked for anything to do with the government before, it was one person in HR knew my documents. So I never loved that. There's a lot of people and the managers, and your stuff is there open. Even the candidates could see some of your stuff when they had them on the table. And I was like, just so turned off. Back to also the iron thing that I went to first that I come across your table. When I went to that first thing that New York City was hiring, and when it was conducted at a college, that too, I noticed that they just have your stuff, your resume and stuff open. One time I was talking to one at the table, and someone said, turn around. There was a man just there staring down at my telephone number, my email and everything. And then he walked away and he saw that I look at him. And so I just didn't like how they're not, and I never like working for places because it's always proving that there's something about them that's wrong. They're not very protective of your information. When they act just nonchalant and neglectful and careless, I'm just turned off by any place that does that. And it usually turns out that that place is corrupted or something. So anyway, back to when they call me in the room, the woman called me, the two personnel, HR personnel call me. And when they call me in the room, they when they call me in the room, they tell me that I am hired, me and another girl. So they called us 2 by 2, and they told us that we are hired. So I said, wow, I'm excited now. And they said, so I said, when do I start? I was shocked. This was in August. The man told me December. I said, December? Now, I was on unemployment and I was looking to a lot of other government jobs and stuff, but because this one reached out to me first, I just said it has to do with children. I said, I'm going to give it a shot. I kind of heard certain things. I did a little review on them, but I didn't see a lot of bad things. I see some bad reviews here and there, but I know, I said, you know what, God, I know me. When I'm passionate about something, I give it my all. I don't have to, and I know all reviews not necessarily mean they're all true. So I was like to make excuses as to a few of the reviews I come across. And so I I just kind of overlooked through things, but I felt an uncomfortable thing in my spirit, deep in my spirit, because I'm thinking about, do I want to work for something that takes away, a place that takes away people's children, separate family, so I was torn. Then I'm thinking, but then there's children who abuse and need protection, so there was this torn thing going on with me. So anyway, they come to the room, they told my hand. I said December. I was shocked because I've never, even when I got job through the government, like illegally back in the day, and another job that I've worked through, like I said, placing youths and stuff in job and young people in jobs and training. It was like when a week or two or so you start working. So that was along by that. I said, why so far back? They said, well, they have like a academy. You got to go for 6 weeks, and it's a paid academy, and they're full, and the next one is not until December. So that's okay. I'll try and do something. And this is why the idea of me starting my business come along, because I said I don't want to go look for some other job, and I don't think it's fair for me to find a job and then go tell the employer I gotta leave, and and if you tell them ahead, they probably won't hire you, and also I didn't want to just take any little job that's like I know I'm gonna be miserable with, in certain little jobs. So I said, let me try and that's another reason why I start my own business. I said, the idea just came. I said, let me just go ahead, start. I've always wanted to do this. Let me use that, try and start my own little thing and see. And in the meantime, so I but I would still could do this on the side if I cannot allow, because I don't know if eventually they will tell me it's like conflict of interest or nothing. I don't know, but I know I need to have an income coming in, and I have these skills and talents, and it's always a love and desire for me to do something creative. So I said, let me do that instead. So I was like, I was see, they must pay by the 18.8 a day, and I think that's why they're running all these things, trying, but they have hiring, but I'm gonna get to all of that eventually. So they told me and the girl, I was a little upset, a little disturbed by it, that it wasn't. So, when I left, I said, it dawned on me that wonder if they would give me they would have given me an early date if I'd come earlier and not at 10 o'clock. And they told me, because some of the emails I got was saying, come at 10, don't come before 10. But when I got there, 18 people was ahead of me, because I was number 18, 17 people rather. And I wonder if those people get an earlier date to start. So I was a little, I called. And that's another, like, the 5th or 10th red flag, 5th or 6th red flag. When I call, the guy was always reach out to me, the direct HR person, who doesn't sound like he has much education, sounds just street, grammar is bad and rude, because he was nice to me up until he saw me at the thing, and I had to go before him and give him my paperwork that he only taught me to do. He just had this mean look on his face too towards me. Like, I don't know if my age, he probably thought I was a younger person or whatever. I don't know what it is. Or maybe now, I don't know what it is, but it was not the same energy I was getting over the phone when I spoke to him, the excitement, and he told me to come to the hiring thing and stuff. So, he they told me, I called them when we left, because the thing was a whole day stuff. And all thing I look at, they didn't even offer you any food or not. They eventually tell you can go to get something to eat because, if you want to. But I know if it was a corporate setting, they would have food there for you. So I look at that, but it's not a big deal, right? Because people were able to walk out and go get something. You just don't want them to call your name while you're going out. So I didn't go because I didn't want them to call me while I went out. So, and not have to wait longer, because you were there I was there from 10 to 4 o'clock, right? 10 a.m. to 4 o'clock. Hi. I called him on the phone, and I also emailed and said, hey, it dawned on me that what if I had come earlier? Would I get an earlier date than December? I just was curious. I sent my email, I sent my voicemail. That was another big red flag. This man never responded to me. He would respond to me prior to that when he was trying to get me to come to the hiring process and all of that, and fill out application on my social and all that information. Nothing. No, nothing. Weeks, months, nothing from him. All of a sudden, as soon as I start this business and announced it in September, because they did tell you that somebody's going to reach out to you and tell you to bring your document, proof of all the stuff you have, your proof of that you live in New York, you're a U.S. resident, you're legal citizen to work and all that, your passport, your high school diploma, your college degree. You got to bring all these original documents. So the very first week I start doing this thing that I'm doing on my own, start my little business that I do on the side to wait for them to call me to start in December. And because that's one reason why I started. You can continue doing it if you can still do it. If they don't say it's a problem and you can do it on the side, you go on the weekend over the internet, whatever. Because it's not like I have a business where I have a building and I don't. It's more internet and meeting with people and going out and going to events and selling my stuff. It's nothing where I have a tangible building selling out of. So, or doing stuff, or tutoring kids or whatever, you go into the homes, whatever. So he didn't respond to me all this time. All of a sudden, during the week on exactly September 18th. Now, this is the birthday of the Trinidadian man I mentioned before from the last job that I felt was a sneak and a snake. This is exaggerated. I didn't realize it until a few weeks ago. It dawned on me that was his birthday. So I can't help to think certain things that's going through my head. And so I was there selling. I didn't even know that I had a phone call, so I went to use my phone. In the evening part, I started then trying to get some of my stuff, my natural stuff sell. And there was this Trinidadian voice on the other hand saying that when I listened to my voicemail, that he was a person assigned to my stuff and he has my application, and he's gonna send me some kind of link or something for me to go and fill out some stuff and be on a site for the government in New York City, and they're gonna eventually call me in to bring in. I don't know if that's when he tells you to bring me these documents, but there's a many different levels to this, different processes. So I didn't reach out right away because it was the evening. I was didn't expect it. I didn't hear from them from August, from I went to the thing for weeks. And then suddenly now when I start this, so I said, okay, I'll look over it over the weekend, because I think it was the Wednesday and stuff. I think I left a message saying I'll get back to him by the Monday or something like that, because I think they give you by the day, a Monday, to fill out, go on the site. So I got this call the Wednesday, and I think by the Monday I must have all the things full out and on the site. So that just threw me off, because then I wasn't expecting this, and I just started the business, and it just, and then how he wrote this thing, and how he writes it, it was not clear. It was not clear, right? It was not clear. The instruction. He make it seem like this man was Trinidad and I work for ACS, who they assigned to me, and I find that very strange. Make it seems like, right? I would have to find when all he wrote it. His writing was very poor in the sense in that area where he says that I gotta find all my jobs that I've worked since I graduated high school. Now I'm a woman in my 50s. That was many years ago. I'm like, I can't remember some of these jobs. Some of these jobs was a part-time job. And that's how he worded it. And then at another part, later on, I go back, I see that at the bottom, it says, it is worded a little different. So it was confusing and he make it seem like I had to find. So that was like got me very stressed. I was like, where am I gonna find all of this, right? I gotta go find old papers to look through to find some job, some of my old W-4 form that I do taxes, and so it was very upsetting. It was very stressful. I didn't get sleep some nights looking for the stuff. Then when I reached out to him about it, he said, well, you don't have to do everything one time, something like that. But then he said, you got to have all the stuff done by. So there was just confusing and conflicting and was not consistent, clear. So then I, what you call it? So then I, what you call it? So then I fill out the stuff, bring it to him, and then I fill out the stuff, bring it to him, right? And I don't know why this stuff all of a sudden come up. It wasn't doing that before. It's really a nuisance. I fill out the stuff and bring it to him, and what you call it? And I bring it to them. Dude, go on the side, and he looked to see if it was done. I was just so stressed that day that I didn't get it done on time because they give you time to make sure it's up on the thing. I called him, I explained to him what happened, all the stress of trying to find all that information and who my supervisors were and all of that. And so I think it's then he was telling me about, it's not till after high school, or he didn't make it clear. It is like the last 10 years. And he didn't say that till somewhere low down in the letter. And so it was confusing information, right? And so he said next time call him earlier, and he gave me some kind of scolding. And I said, I apologize, and said, yeah, but it was just very stressful and just abrupt. Now, when you read some instruction in New York City give you for when you find applying for each job, it's supposed to be on your time. They're not supposed to give you no deadline time. Basically, when I go back afterwards, and afterwards when I fill out some of the paperwork, it's supposed to be according, of course it must be in a timely manner, but according to what I can. You can't just call, because one of the things they do when they offer me the job said it was conditional. So when I asked them conditional on what, that's what the paper said. Oh, you gotta pass fingerprinting. So I felt confident because I do fingerprinting all the time because I work with children. You gotta do drug tests. I'm like, I don't take drugs, so I'm not worrying about that. So it says you have to do all of that fingerprinting, the drug test, and some other stuff. So I thought everything you told me that was going to be on the condition why you get hired. I'm like, I know I'm comfortable. I wouldn't. Now, the only problem I had when I filled out the application is I couldn't remember if the jobs I worked were city jobs or they were federal or they were state. I didn't really know the difference. I didn't really, and I can't remember, and I Googled and I couldn't find some of the jobs I worked with in the city because they asked you if you ever worked for the city or denied the job from the city and stuff before. So I wasn't sure where those jobs that I work. I know they're government based, but I didn't know if they were city, because this job, ACS, is city. There's city jobs, state jobs, and there's so know the difference, people, and federal. And some of them are worse. To me, the city is the worst. The lower levels, the locals are the worst. You might come across a few good, I'm using a Jamaican term, buck up. You might come across a few good quality places that you have good and supervisors and directors and stuff, but a lot of them you're going to go, it's just not a nonsense, right? So he finally said to still send it. I sent it off that day, all of that, fill out all the stuff. Before you know it, I was getting calls from him or email saying that things were missing, I didn't fill in stuff. I'm like, I did it. I went back in. So I was supposed to go out and sell or to the kids. I couldn't. Every minute I was getting a call or an email every time I fixed. So I don't know if they have a glitch in the system or someone was going in and deleting my stuff. Because you have a stuff sent to you and you're supposed to change the password and go into your system, the New York State system, and fill out your application and put up your stuff, the information they want from you. Every minute this man was calling me, and usually during a time when I'm on my way to go work with a kid or go on my way to go sell my stuff, it was just to work for myself. So I explained to him I work for myself, and every time this happened, I can't make any money. I'm losing money that way. And at one point, he asked how much. One of the person asked for how much I make now with your job. And one of the things they keep emphasizing on even the letter they gave you is, don't quit your job. So I'm like, that also was bothering me. Like, I've never got offered a job conditionally. it's conditionally, and I've never got a job that keep telling me don't quit my job, don't quit my job. So at one point, after I did all that, and I keep fixing things that it claimed was need fixing the system for a million times. I'm just exaggerating, but a lot of times. Um, I After that, I noticed that I didn't hear from him again for a while. Then all of a sudden, he reached out to me again and said for October 2nd, I need to um, bring him. You're gonna make a date for me to come in to bring in all my document, the tangible, um, my transcript from college, all of that. But for the transcript from college, you gotta order it because they need an original. So he said there's a site you can go on and order it, and it costs you money. They use a credit card or a debit card. Because I was gonna just go to the school and order and take a few weeks. He said, no, what if that might take long because if you want the process to go through fast and stuff. So I'm like, okay. I went and just pay, although I'm losing money, not making nothing, because every time I gotta be working on this stuff, it takes away from me. And I was very upset and aggravated because when I first started myself, I was very happy in life, and because of this, I was just very stressed. And he said, what you call it? He said, uh, well, if I want that stuff to go through fast and blah blah, make sure. So I went ahead and did that. When the date come for me, now this is the strange one. When the date come for me to go in, I could not find my passport and my social security card, because you got to bring in original document to them now. Could not find none of that anywhere. I was so upset. That's when you see, I don't know if it's a video I made or I wrote a comment somewhere saying I spent 9 hours looking. That was it. Couldn't find my passport and my social, and I'm somebody who keep those in a safe place. I could not. So I had to call him, tell him I have to reschedule. I was very upset. I was very distraught. I was determined to find him. I eventually found it. When I found it, I called him. I leave a text, an email, and he called me I called him the next day. I don't know if it was me calling him the next day or he called me, and he finally booked it for the next week, right, for me to come in October the 8th. When I went in, he wasn't too, he just had this kind of look on his face. Not only that, some of the phone calls we have, that's another thing, was another red flag. Maybe this is number 8, 9, 10 now. It's his tone. Sometimes he will talk to me like I'm like somebody he knows and he's upset with. Did I tell you that? Like stuff like that. That kind of tone. Who tell you that? I didn't tell you that. Where you get that from? That kind of behavior talk. So I was like, what the hell? So that's one of the things I was like, I don't want to work with nobody in no place that they behave like that, because Proverbs 22:29 says, a man who's diligent in his business will not stand before me, man. And that keep coming back to me, just coming back. And I keep saying, God, I don't feel comfortable. I keep feeling uncomfortable. But then a part of me say, you want this is that has good benefits. Your student loans will be you can get your student loans, what you call it, wiped out because you're working as a civil servant. And then you get to work with children, but then I'm also worried about what if I about if you're going to be taking a child on wrongly, unjustly for the parents, if you're going to be wrong, or you're going to end up being neglectful, so all those was in the back of my head. And then also I'm thinking, I see on the news when they get arrested, these people, because they cause a child to die and stuff. It's like everybody, the supervised man. So if one person is negligent, the whole person in that team. So that worries me a little bit. But then I said, God, you know me, I have a heart for children. You'll protect me. I'm a Christian. I can't walk in fear. I have these skills and the talents and stuff. I know that I can, I'll just let you lead me. But I keep feeling uncomfortable in my spirit. Feeling uncomfortable in my spirit about the whole thing. And then, so I don't know why it keeps showing me that. That's not what I'm on to. Keep comfortable about in my spirit about it. And then all of a sudden, so during the time when I have to go see him, I didn't get to fill out all the papers again too. It's like it was so stressful, it was so demanding, there was so much they wanted, and I when I made copies of stuff, it wasn't made properly. There's one person who was supposed to give me a reference letter, and she's supposed to be a Christian, and she didn't put something on it, and when I reached out to her, she just ignored me, and then you reach out to me till long after, the fact, which I think I put somewhere on my, after the fact, asked me about it on my business thing, and I said, don't just reach out to me on here. I said, your text about this and you didn't respond to days, you know. But back to what I was saying, this man was just now kind of saying some good stuff under his breath to me in the face-to-face thing that was happening with him with my documents and stuff. So he went and he made copies of a lot of things for me and had me sign some stuff, and I just didn't feel good. So he asked me questions that were evasive. He was saying things like, where is your husband? Like, I'm thinking, why would you even ask me that in a thing? Where your husband? Or something to that effect. Another thing he was saying, like, you like say the things on, but like, no, like, I don't know where you're going or something like that. You know, I just catch him saying and mumbling stuff that was just rude, unprofessional, inappropriate towards, which I find to be discriminating. And he said all of this after he made copies of all my information, took all my information. And another thing that worries me, and so it bothered me, was I was like, in between that, they will say, oh, you're hired, welcome, this is an iron processor, you're on board. But then they'll say again, but don't quit your job, and this is conditional. So I'm like, why are they, you know, I was bothered by that. And so I said to him at one point in the processing section thing that was with him, why are you taking all these documents from me? At one point he wanted to take my picture for ID, and when I protested, because he just told me right after he got all my documents, oh, by the way, it's not December, we have to move you to, like, no, he didn't tell me where. He said, I can't start in December again. I said, why? He said, well, the classes are full up and the people who were supposed to start in September, they're gonna move them to December. And I was like, so when would I start? March. I was like, sir, so I stopped protesting. I was upset, but I wasn't doing it in a rude, unprofessional. I said, but you guys say it was December, and I, you know, this is costing me money. I built everything around it. I'm working everything around it. I did everything. I delayed stuff. I didn't look for nothing else. And he was like, you know, and so he didn't say, he was, I don't know, he says a couple of rude stuff and stuff under his breath. And so at one point he wanted me to take ID picture. I'm like, why am I taking ID picture then? Oh, so you want to wait till the day you start working? So he did a lot of stuff. But the thing that bothers me the most, and that's how I knew that something was wrong, and was really what bothers me the most, how it gave me the uncomfortable feeling. He said to me, nobody told me it was December I was going to start. Who tell you December? Nobody told you that. So the man is gaslighting me. Even him, in a couple of our conversations we had, was saying December, because he was the one who corrected me, because they told me I was supposed to start December 2nd for the academy. And he said, no, December 1st. I said, no, it can't be December 1st. They give you the wrong date. It's December 2nd. December 2nd, because December 1st is a Sunday, and they don't start, nobody working on Sunday. So I was like, you even tell me that, so how now? Who tell you that? Nobody tell you that. So the man started gaslighting, so I knew something was wrong. That's after they collect all my information. Now I'm finding all these things afterward, and I'm like, are these people collecting, talk about hiring to steal New York City people information to help pay for these bills that they have to pay for all the stealing, that they have to pay back for all this money they stole from these children? And, you know, is this what this iron thing about? Because all of a sudden now you're switching and changing and weren't clear and weren't consistent. So prior to that, before I went to the processing, I got noticed to go do a drug test, where I have to do a union test, and they tell you what not to do or whatever before you go. I think not to drink water or drink water. I don't remember. So I'm confident because I know I don't do drugs. When I call up the place that they sent for me to do it, because they have different locations, they make the appointment. Then I get somebody afterward tell me no, they have to cancel because the doctor's gonna be out sick. I'm like, how you mean he's gonna be out sick? It's like 2 days away. He knows he's gonna be sick already. So I said, okay, put it for 12 days. They called me again after they said it. Oh, he's gonna be out. So I end up getting annoyed, and finally reach out to a place in Long Island City, a location, tell them that I'll take the one in Long Island City for such and such a day. When I went, they did tell me that the time I wanted, they on lunch. So I went there early. Waited till a girl, when they come, it was one girl working. The door was open, everything, could just walk in and sit down. I don't know if she was eating in the back. I think she was, because she came from the back. When I went, she had me fill out this form online saying that I saw when she put my specimen in a container and seal it. That's what she had me sign up front, and asked me for ID and stuff. When I did ready to go do the peeing, she told me I can't carry my bag in there. Now the bag was right there in front of her, and I'm like, ma'am, so I left the door kind of uncracked. right? Because I want to make sure my bag is safe and stuff, my pocketbook and stuff I had with me the day, you know. So I was like annoyed. I said, why didn't you all tell us that we should, that we're gonna be required to leave a pocketbook outside? Because I've done drug tests before in the past. I don't remember they being like that. But anyway, she was like I don't remember what she said, but kind of rude. So, and just straight and ghetto with her or respond to me. So I was there waiting, and all of a sudden she went in the back with my vial and stuff, and she come back because I think what I did, I pee about the mark that I was supposed to pee because it was a lot of pee. I was holding my pee for a long time. So I think she has to go pour it out, but she could have just poured it out in the bathroom where I use it right in front of me. She went in the back, come back with the thing sealed and say must sign. I'll sign something and give me some paper that, my job will call me with the result or something like that. So I said, Miss, you just had me sign a form saying that I saw when you put this thing away. I didn't see when you put it away. You could have done anything and tampered with my specimen. You didn't. You say that you had me sign this stuff. She started. I said, I don't do drugs. I don't do drugs either. And she started carrying on and acting all ghetto. She doesn't see what I'm saying, the inappropriate. I said, you're not following protocol. You just had me sign something that I saw when you put my specimen. That was not the case. You went with my specimen in the back somewhere and then come back with it, right? And already sealed. So she had an attitude. So I emailed to ACS and also to the company that oversees these different medical places that make the appointment, and I complained about it, and they reached out and apologized and said she shouldn't have done that, blah blah blah, she's supposed to do it in front of my face and all of that stuff. And ACS did not respond to me. All now did not respond to me to say, wow, because I want them to know this is what's going on. You're sending people to this place, and if people come up that they have drugs in their system, it could be anything, it could be temporary, it could be they carelessly mix it up with somebody else's stuff, So no, nothing from them. Crickets, silence. So that was the first time I complained to them. That's when, like I say, right, something like after I got the call from the man to bring in my stuff and bring in all my original documents and stuff to prove who I am and prove blah blah they're real and all that stuff. So sometime after this, they'll call me, reach out to me for me to do my fingerprinting. I'm confident with this because I do it all the time. And I know I just did one recently when I was working with the early childhood centers. So he finally reached out. I wrote to them because I don't hear from him for weeks. And so I finally wrote to the general email and to the guy who was reaching out to me. And no, I didn't write to him because I know he did not answer me about why I was number 18, or why I got the date in December. It's because I was number 18, if I'd come earlier, if I get a better date. So I just write the general email, and he responded and said I must have patience. Now it has something to do with patience. I was just saying that I was explaining how this man told me, because that's what I was upset about. I said, this man keeps saying that nobody tells me that was a second in you, and I called his name. He tell me it was the second and the other person on that day, and he himself said it a couple of times it was the 2nd of December, and now he's saying that nobody told me that and gaslighting me. I'm kind of very upset about that, and this doesn't look good. So and tell me his whole tale. So he wrote back, the guy that was first dealing with me, that doesn't seem to have much good grammar or whatever, wrote back to me and said, no, it's December 2nd. And in one point he said, we have, have some kind of patience with them. And this has nothing to do with patience. It's like, no, you just lied to me. You just gaslight me about the start date that I know I was told. So, and I know I feel really uneasy and unhappy. I'm very concerned. So, I remember when I reached out back to him, I said, I feel like maybe I'm discriminated against because as soon as he got my document that shows my age, where I was born, all of that, this Trinidadian man that is supposed to be taking care of my stuff, all of a sudden, he he's telling me, giving me these dates and telling me that I can't start in December, so I can't ever sometimes feel if I'm discriminated against. He said because of where I was born or whatever. Because if some of you don't know it, not every Caribbean country, not everybody from certain Caribbean like people from other Caribbean countries. There's stuff going on, just the same what you find in sometimes the Spanish country. This Spanish country don't like the Southern discriminate. That's what goes on in the Caribbean countries too. And although I'm American and live here, I'm more American than where I was born. I live here for almost 40 years, right? I grew up here. I'm more American. I'm a U.S. citizen. You have people who still want to treat me a certain way. And sometimes, strangest thing is not even sometimes people who are from here. It's people who are born somewhere else who wants to discriminate against you. So I start feeling, because I've had discriminating experience and bad experience with these particular people from this particular country a lot of times, right? And so I couldn't help but seeing that, because one of the situation that he wanted me to correct, I had a job before from when I got hired by a Trinidadian woman who owns a daycare, and she didn't pay us for weeks. And when I complained, I was on unemployment. She said must continue to collect unemployment and she still pay me when she get the money, because it was a job that she get paid through the Department of Education. It was those daycare that does I forgot what they call that stuff for the 4-year-olds. And that was one of my first job I got for that, working not directly with the Department of Education, but we were overseen by them for that classroom that we were in. And I was an assistant teacher, and she wouldn't pay us 3 weeks, didn't want us to take lunch. And when I, complained about it to her, she get mad at me and fired me suddenly, all of a sudden. So I went to complain to the appropriate agencies, and within weeks she was shut down because she wanted me to commit fraud, plus she was doing other things that she's not supposed to do. And I'm not being malicious, but you're wicked. You're wicked too, because most of the time what a person's supposed to do, like for me, I say I'm supposed to branch out my business and I hire people. I can't tell the people it's time to pay them, oh, I don't make no money. I go take out a loan. I got to do what I got to do, take out my savings and pay the people. That's not their problem. So this woman want to make extra, the Department of Education didn't pay. So he realized, I don't know if he knows this woman or something, he told me to take her stuff off my application, because he said something like it was conflicting with something about my unemployment at the time. Because at first I said, so I took it off because I said, yeah, unemployment did pay me. But then when I look back, I said, no, they didn't pay me. She had to send me a check eventually for work, because they didn't pay me for while I'm there working. Even if she didn't pay me, she has to pay me. So she was closed down shortly after that. And I don't know if that's one of the things it was like really setting me up or retaliating against me. I don't know if this man know other people who I have situation with, like the other Trinidadian man at the other place or whatever, which because the way he treated me and the way he talked to me, it was like, I just find it very offensive. And I would be surprised if people are collaborating and conspiring and having their friends in these agencies and blocking you as well. But it turned out to be good, because I found out these things. When I said good, I mean it turned out where I wouldn't want to work for them anyway, seeing what I've seen now and find out what I find out, because I knew some stuff, but I just found out worse afterwards. Found out that 4 to 5 kids died from August or September until now. Just 2 weeks ago, a kid died under their watch that they're supposed to be protecting. So I don't want to be associated with places like that. And then the funny thing, the way they treat you, the things they want from you, they want a lot of stuff. Even right now, they're being sued by parents when they go in their home because parents are accused of maybe abuse or whatever. They go to the people's drawers. They have children lift up their clothes in front of others, checking for bruise and stuff. They're very invasive, and they did the same with you. They want a whole lot of stuff that shouldn't be their business. Like he's asking me, "Where's my husband? What happened to your husband? Like, where's your husband?" Well, you asked me that in an interview. And at one point, he asked me what block I live on. Okay, I gave you an address. He wants to know, like, you're going to be monitoring and watching you or something. And so all of that didn't sit well with me. Another thing that bothers me was that they're going to give you their own phone and stuff. And I'm like, these people don't seem true, right, and moral. So they're going to be clocking you and having all kinds of devices, watching and listening to you. I just don't trust them. After I start finding out more from them, and the way they treated me was very unprofessional. The way the people that I interact with, the way they talk, the people I come across, and the things I now find on the internet. This turned me off big time. So what I want to say is that you have to be careful where you try to get hired. You got to do your research thoroughly. I barely did some because I'm thinking this government job. I was concerned when they were asking for document and not telling me, because in one minute they tell me I'm hired, and next minute they tell me it's conditional, so don't quit my job. So and so I'm like, okay, why you want all this information and documents? And usually those stuff is what you totally officially is hired. I've never got a job conditional hired before. So, but then I'm thinking, it's the government, maybe that's how they do their thing. So I give them a little more trust. But as time went on, I was uneasy in my spirit, and then I'm finding out stuff, and the way they talk to me, the unprofessional behavior, and then the gaslighting and the lying and telling me one thing and then switching up on me, and confusing information, instruction where you don't know what the hell you're supposed to be doing, and then constantly you got to be fixing stuff and wasting your time. It was just so annoying and upsetting and stressful. And so last week I was really praying in my heart and said, God, I don't feel comfortable. The only thing that interests me in this job now is just the money and the money and the benefits. But I have no other interest, and that's not good. That's not me. I don't take job just for money and stuff. I have no excitement, no zeal, because the way they treated me during the whole process, the things they said to me is very uncomfortable, and the things in my spirit and that I'm coming across, and I'm just very upset in my spirit and uneasy. And God just let me get a phone call. I said, show me. And I was just praying in my mind, my heart. I wasn't praying out loud to say, well, Google or the phone hear me, or if they have something listening on my phone, they could hear me. They couldn't hear me. I was speaking in my heart and my mind and my spirit. And I got a call from the same Trinidadian man telling me they're rescinding the order they gave, the offer they gave me, because a day before I wrote and complained. I said about what happened, because also when they tell me, they call me 2 weeks after, when I first complained about how, I feel discriminated against when I write an email, and how he said that nobody told me I was starting on the 2nd and stuff. The very next day I get a call to do my fingerprinting. Now, the fingerprinting, I have to pay $102 for myself. That's the only thing that bothers me. When I get to do fingerprinting through the daycares and stuff at work, most of the daycare pay for it. Only few don't pay. Most of them will pay for it. Big company daycare, like with the last place I work, will pay for it. They also want you to do a SCR. You have to know all the place you live, and you pay $25 for that. Most agents, even some small little daycare work, will pay for that. I had to give them a money order for that. I gave them money order $9 for something else, and then I paid for them to get my transcript and send directly to him by email or immediately as soon as I purchase it. So I spent a good $150, something like close to that, with them, right? And then they turn around and tell me, oh, they changed their mind. Which by now, when I find out all these things about them, I'm not interested in work with no thieves and people who take advantage of children and disabled children and children on their care and all kinds of unprofessional people. I'm not interested in work with people like that. So I just I eventually called the city. I wrote an email saying that the guys tell me that it's not the 2nd anymore. The very next day I got an email saying I must go to the interview. So something my spirit, maybe they're just setting you up. They're going to let you pay for you and then tell you that they're not going to take you on board, or tell you that you can't start till March again. I felt it strongly. That was more like some retaliations going on too, because I complained. And I also complained after that. I sent an email just recently, because I keep reaching out to them. I see it's like a week before the 2nd, which was last week, and I'm like, how come I didn't get anything yet? Tell me, when do I start? It's supposed to be the 2nd. Where do I report to? Whatever. Let me know, please. But I kind of know in my spirit that they're going to retaliate, or I'm going to get some kind of negative news, or at the same time, I didn't find all of this yet. So I wrote them, because when they sent me to do the fingerprinting, the guy, when I got there, one of the male employees got upset with me because I filled out the money order. Said I shouldn't fill it out. I must give it to them blank. So I'm like, in all my years of buying money order, I fill out my money order. What if I lost the money order? Somebody can steal that money order. I'm not going to give nobody no blank money order. At least my name is coming from me should be there, and my address. I shouldn't put that out here. I should cross it out. So God was good that he wasn't the one who did my fingerprinting. I went to the girl and I was telling that to her, and she was like, seemed like alarmed, like he's telling me all of that. So I find out in these places they have people set up that seem to be working with people in these agencies. From the girl that did my urine testing, to right down to the money order thing. It just tells me there's something going on also, because I don't know why you want me to give you a blank money order to do my fingerprinting and not put my information on it. That is very strange. So, and I said that to them in the email. So now I got this call on the well, I wrote him the day before. I think the Monday I wrote an email, and I just knew, kind of have an idea what was coming. I wrote an email and I said, hey, when do I start? It says I was supposed to start on the 2nd. I don't get no information yet. Tell me when I start. And this is like the week before the week of Thanksgiving. The very next day is when I'm praying to God in my mind, because by now I'm like, no, God, I don't like this. I feel this thing, and I didn't find a lot of these things yet, because I'm busy trying to do my business and everything. I didn't get to look and research like I normally would. And I got this call right. I'm praying to God and telling that I'm uncomfortable in my spirit. The only thing that interests me in this job now is just the pay and the benefits that come with it. But I'm even uncomfortable with that, because the way the kind of people I see that's in there in human resources, maybe when I want some time off, I probably would have a hard time getting it, or certain other things that I'm supposed to get. And and I was very upset because they have me give them all kinds of information, even my family. They want to know who gave you fill out stuff to do with beneficiary, and I'm like, why am I doing all of this now if it's conditional? That's the thing that bothers me, So the guy called me and tell me that the same Trinidad, first of all, when he called me, my phone was black. I couldn't see who was calling me. And I think this was the second time I get a call. I don't know if it's from them, where I couldn't see who's calling me. So I wait for the phone to hang up, and then I was able to touch the phone and bring it back clear to see who called me. And I call him back. So when I call him back, I said, yes, you just called me. I'm listening. And he was silent for a while. And he said, we're calling to let you know that we resink our offer we give you. So I'm thinking, resink offer? You tell me it was conditionally, it wasn't no surety anyway. To myself, I'm thinking that. And I was calm. I said, okay. And I said, what is the reason? I am not limited to say. And you see him pausing, because he probably expect me to react a certain way. And I'm like, I'm not giving you that, devil. No, I'm not. I'm not giving you that benefit. And by now, I just knew in my heart, I felt a relief too, like God is saying, because I was just saying, God, show me clearly if I should be working for these people. Show me. I just have these bad feelings, these bad vibes. And right away, he said, we're sending you something to prove it. And we'll send you something. And no, I don't get this something that's supposed to be sending me. And I said, okay, he'll tell me why the reason. And then he said to me, he said to me, I said, okay, all right, so I'll wait for you to send me whatever you're sending me. And right away, the Holy Spirit said, go Google them and find out more. And this is when I find all these stuff about them. All these stuff they're doing, stealing children's money from the orphans and disabled children in their system, children dying under their care. All these things I'm finding on the internet about them, that God has just let me find. And I'm like, God, I don't even want to work for nobody that does these things, right? And take advantage of little children and children, not even just little children, because some of these children are maybe old, right? There's just an employer forge the children's signature and steal gift cards that were meant for them. Look at that, right? There it is. And let me see if I can find another. There's another thing I want to find about them and show it to you. Let me see. About the children that died under their care. I had found those. I think I found that maybe with the reviews. The reviews are horrible, guys. Some of the reviews are just horrible, and most of the time all people talk about is the benefits and the thing. Other than that, the reviews are just horrible, right? And I'm trying to find the thing about the children who died so you can see it. Yeah, the things about the children who died under their care. This is the one, the most recent, the family of the 4-year-old that just died recently. See that? starved to death. This is on the ACS. 4 children died, 2 to 1 despite a known to ACS. So these are the stuff. I'm like, I don't want to associate, and I don't want to go to prison, because if you notice on the news, when they come prison for somebody else's carelessness, or my supervisor telling me not to do something when I complain, or do something when I complain about what I see as a caseworker. So a part of me is disappointed and upset, because I spend a lot of time looking for the information they want me to bring them, paying my money, that little money that I earn, to pay them, to give them, to get the stuff that they want me to pay for, and waste my time going to the meetings that they invite me to, and the hiring processes and stuff. And guys, something is wrong going on, because I didn't apply for correction officer. I also got emails from correction office and tell me, oh, thank me for my application for correction. I said I didn't apply for, and I would never apply to be a correction officer. And I have to tell him, stop sending me stuff. I don't want to hear nothing. I did not apply for no correction. Because I think what they do is they try to force certain titles on people that nobody wants. Are always very difficult and stressful. Because at the same time, when ACS had reached out to me, that's what they did. They reached out to me with some position that I would not have applied for, because I didn't want to deal with that stress and headache that comes with that, and the violence that comes with that position, and dealing with violent youths. I was not trying to do that. I don't think I'm in a position to do that kind of job. So I would not apply for that. I know myself. So I had to tell it, and then he's gonna tell me, oh, if I have it's for people with degree, and I'm like, my resume. If you have my resume and you say I give an application, that's gonna be on there. So they try to trick you into, and if you fall, and then most of the time they pay you, those jobs pay a lot, or you get a lot of overtime, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it, because one thing that the people complain on in the reviews is the lack of work and life balance with ACS, working as a social worker, case worker, a CPS. I'm talking about those positions. If you have certain person, like I see a lawyer, right, oh, it's good and stuff. Yeah, you're the lawyer, so you're getting all easy. And somebody else in another position, maybe a secretary won't I get, but the people who are actually working, it's very stressful. They have very bad reviews. When you get a chance, you can look up the reviews and see them for yourself. Okay? But be careful. I want to warn you, be careful of these government agencies hiring, and make sure it's really legit. And I would say the city ones are the worst. The city ones are the most corrupted, and that's what makes me angry. Like, you're in the news, all kind of corruption all the time, stealing people's identity, all in handcuffs and stuff, and you have some nerve, interviewing prosecuting people like that. Okay, so just be careful. Do your research. Remember Proverbs 22:29, a man who is diligent in his business will not stand before mean men. If you see people mean during the interview and during the iron process and stuff, you're going to go to a nasty on the phone. That's not a good place. Unprofessional. And when you research them, you're going to find out they're into all kinds of corruption and all kinds of problems going on with them, and lawsuit, because they do all kinds of stuff that is inappropriate and wrong, and defrauding. Okay, and be careful giving them your information. I now learn not even government should get your information before they officially hire you. I learned that lesson, and something I never do with private sector. And now I see that even the government, because see, they turn around and retaliate and lie and gaslight and playing games, and who knows, they're probably trying on top of their hiring to get help to pay for these lawsuits they have coming to them, to get people information and steal information for their lawsuits that they have to go pay back, and all the money they steal from the kids that they have to pay back. So be careful, okay? And you see, God don't like ugly, because a lot of things, another thing I learned is that a lot of the black and brown families and children are the ones who they treat a certain way and take away their children, or leave in neglect. A lot of them, and those are the same children, they stole their money. Okay, so just be careful. Okay, and pray and ask God for guidance. Because I was so busy in my business, I didn't research them as much as I should, and I didn't know a lot until after I got that call last week. I found it a lot. Okay, so be careful, and always pray and ask God for guidance, and help, and be diligent, and don't just grab and run with anything, especially if you know you can apply for something and you're getting called and stuff like that. Just be careful about that. Okay, God bless you. Take care.